Okay, good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we are holding in the book, first of all, in the book of Shemois. We are holding on the portion of Vayeiro, holding the fifth reading. So we are in the middle of the plague of Tzfardim, of the frogs. V'sardu Tzfardim, verse number 7. V'sardu Tzfardim, and you should take away the frogs. From you, I'll take away the frogs from you and for your houses. Mavadecha, from your servants, from your nation. They'll remain in the Nile. Moshe went out of Parat. Hashem and God, and Moshe Rabbeinu cried out to God, because of the frogs, which he gave to Pharaoh. Rashi said, that it should be happen. It happen tomorrow. It should happen the next day. God did what Moshe asked. And all the frogs died. From our houses and from the courtyards, and our sodas from all the fields. And they heaped up these frogs, big lands, big heaps of frogs. And the land stank from dead frogs. And Pari saw that there was a kind of a relief. And he strengthened, he hardened his heart. He didn't listen to them. As God said, as God has spoken. Hichbit is in infinitive form, a concept of a happening lashon peil. It's an active form that he hardened his heart. Hashem. When he spoke to him, said before in chapter 7, verse 4, it says, God said to Moshe, and tell Aaron, and it says, uplift your stick, and hit the land, the earth of the land. And the earth will turn into lice in the whole land of Egypt. Kinim, lice. Rashi says, why over here? The river, we said, the first two plagues, we said it shouldn't, Moshe Rabbeinu shouldn't do it because he was saved by the Nile. But the question is, why over here should he be protected? Why shouldn't Moshe do it? Why did Aaron do it? It had protected him when he slew the Egyptians. So the earth also protected him. Because when he killed the Egyptian, it buried him, it hid him, so to say, from the sight, from everybody's sight. If it wasn't for the two people who tattletale on him, then they wouldn't have known. But the earth hid the body. So again, Moshe Rabbeinu, to respect the earth, he didn't do this plague. And that's what he did. And he reached down his hand with a stick. He hit the earth, the struck the dust of the earth. The lice came upon the man and the beast. The earth was covered with lice. It was a swarming of lice. Verse 14. So the magician also tried to do this with their sticks. The loteim is the secret rites. To take out all these lice. They couldn't. They couldn't do this plague. There was lice all over the country, the animal and humans. They tried to bring it out from someplace, and they couldn't do it. Why? Why could they do the blood and they did the frogs? Because the demons have no power on a creature that's smaller than a barley corn. It's a Gemara. The Gemara says that a kinim is smaller than a barley corn. And there's no power on something that's so small. And therefore they couldn't do it. And that's why they say the next verse. And therefore these guys, these magicians, they said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. This is above our capacity. But Pharaoh's heart still hardened. And he said, no, this doesn't interest me. Ashi said this plague is not through sorcery. is from God Himself. Kashadir Hashem, as God said, that they're not going to listen to Him. Verse 16, God said to Moshe, Hashkem Babaker, wake up in the morning, and stand before the Pharaoh. He's coming out to the water. You should tell him, this is what God said, Shlach Ami, send my nation, v'yavduni, so they can serve it. Because if you're not going to send my nation, I'm going to entice against you in you and your servants, batecha, and your houses, it's a orev. I'm going to bring about orev, which is a mixture of creatures. Malu betecha and malu beit mitzayim will be filled. The every house will be filled minas orev. Begam adama shalahim aleh, and all mixture of it will be upon your land. Now she says, Mashtach ba megadebach. This is entice upon, to entice you, to entice upon you. As a arev, actually, this includes all species of wild beasts, snakes and scorpions in a mixture, and they were destroying amongst the Egyptians. There's a reason given for this matter in our Goda. For each plague, why one, why this one, and why not, and why that one? Following king's war strategy, he comes upon the Egyptian according to the order of the kingdom when it besieges a city. First, the king destroys the city springs. Then they blow up the ram's horns to frighten. That's the frogs, and that's the frogs croaking, making noise. And then he comes and he gives kinnim. And take a look at the Medrash, and the Medrash goes through all the 10 plagues. What was the strategy, so to say, of God? Who said it's a Goshen. This day I'm going to separate between the land of Goshen, which my people live on, the Vilti Yeshem Orev. There's not going to be a mixture of animals there. So you shall know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. Now she says, v'fleisi is the meaning v'frashti. I'll set apart. And then we find the v'hifla Hashem. So the concept of when it says in the Torah, Lord sets you apart. It's not separate from you. It's not separate from you. That's actually the verse. Moshe Rabbeinu says the Torah mitzvahs is not separate from you. It's not above you. Although my Shekhinah is in heaven, my decrees are fulfilled in the lower worlds. It's here in this world. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are in the middle of chapter 15 of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe has explained the statement. It says, and you shall see the difference between the tzaddik You'll see the difference between a righteous man and a wicked man. And between one who serves God and doesn't serve God. And the Alter Rebbe said that a tzaddik, the difference between a tzaddik and a beinoni is a tzaddik already is past the service. He's in the servant of God. A beinoni is still in the service of God. And that's a person that has to fight the war. That's the one who serves God. He's in the middle of the battle. And then there's the one who doesn't serve God. Who's the one who doesn't serve God? Because the fourth one, that's a Rasha. But that's not a person who doesn't serve God. The Alter Rebbe says the middle one, the Beinoni, has two kinds of people. In the Beinoni itself, you have those who are the two levels. There's the one who's Oidelikim, the one who's in the service of God, and doesn't serve him. And nevertheless, Alpha became in a Rasha. He's not a wicked person. So there's a tzaddik, there's a Rasha, and the Alter Rebbe is explaining when it says the one who serves God and the one who doesn't, that's talking about a Beinoni. Because the Beinoni itself, you can have one who serves God and one who doesn't serve God. Why? Why does a person that doesn't serve God Because you know that a Beni never did a sin. Second, he does a sin, he's a Rasha. Even a minor transgression in the realm of a negative commandment. And a Beni is one who fulfills all the positive commandments that he can do. And the learning of Torah is above them all. So therefore, the Beni is a person that doesn't do bittul Torah, doesn't neglect the learning of Torah. A middleman never neglects the learning of Torah. To the extent that his mouth never ceases from the study, despite the difficulty involved in this, because the Beinoni has the desire of the world. His nefesh Bahamis is alive and well. That's why he's in a constant battle. For him to never do a sin and to him to do constantly good for a Beinoni is very hard. This is not an easy job. Ella, so we're talking about a guy that does everything is good and he never stops to Ella, yet he's described as the one who doesn't serve God. Then we can have a Beni that is in this situation but doesn't serve God. How is that possible? He does not wage any battle against his evil inclination. So he just ignores his evil inclination, pushes it under the carpet. He just ignores him. You have that Beinoni who has such a mind over matter situation. He is such a strong person that he can basically ignore his Yetzer. Not fighting with him. He's not going out to fight with him. There's no war with him. Simply ignores him. Lenatzcha, he vanquishes his Yetzer, not because he fights with him, not because he wants to overcome him. Simply, because of the Ur Hashem, the light of God. This Beinoni is a godly individual. So he has within him the light of God. He is a strong-minded person. And this, he has a strong brain. And his brain is strong. And his godly soul is strong. And therefore, he simply ignores his animal soul. Ignores him. Ignores entirely his animal soul. That the godly soul, divine soul, illuminates it. The Beinoni answers the inclination who serves him not, does not struggle with it. Why? Because he ignores the Yetzirah. If you can imagine such a Beinoni, he was such a Beinoni. He ignores the Yetzirah totally. There's no issue with it. The Yetzirah should come and to attempt him to deter him from Trasavit. He doesn't have to have any war against the Yetzirah. He just basically, it's irrelevant to him. He has such a focus and he has such a power of the brain that he's totally focused in his life of godliness, and therefore he has no time. Simply has no time for his evil and for his nefesh Bahamis. A guy who's a studious. There was certain people have a given gift that they love to learn. They simply love to learn. They use out every minute of the day to learn. Mittel does. That's how he was born. He was born with this talent of learning. So this comes from this due to his stolid temperament. He's a person that has he doesn't like to, we had always in the class, those that didn't go out to play in recess. They sat to learn. They were not interested. Not because they had a great overcome desire to go and play. They just was not interested. They were more of a stolid temperament. They were more introverts. Yeah, people that are introverts. And they like to sit in themselves. They love to sit and learn. And they can, whenever you see them, they're studious because they have no interest in anything else. And actually, it's their nature. And then you can have a person that has no lust. not because he's overcome lust and desire. You have a guy who's frigid by nature. It's a kalta neshama. It's a cold soul. He has no desires. It's overrated to him. It has no feeling to him. He's a cold person. He has no passion. Doesn't know what passion is. So if he doesn't know what passion is, he has no interest in the whole situation. Not that he's overcome lust and desire. He has woman issues. It's not because he's overcome it. He basically has no desires. And so to similarly to mundane pleasures, he need not exert himself to master a desire for them. He naturally lacks any feeling for enjoyment. Like you have a person that Pasha doesn't like to enjoy life. It's possible. That's like he's given the Alter Rebbe calls it a Mara Shcheda a little bit. Mara Shcheda over here it's a stolen temperament. Mara Shcheda means he's a depressed person. He likes the introvert person. Likes a person who likes to be by himself, and doesn't like to be in the public. He likes to be secluded. You have some people that way. So this person doesn't have to create a contemplation and meditation in the greatness of God to awaken up the spirit of knowledge of God and the fear of God. He has a natural fear. Imagine if you have a natural fear of God. Some people have a natural fear. They are born to have the people that are afraid of everything. The Shomer Mitzvahs says to guard himself not to transgress a prohibited commandment. And those that have a love of God, they have ordered. Some people are born with an intuition to love God, to have this relationship with God. The dafka be'bekiyah mitzvah is to cleave to Him in the aspect of doing good. The Talmud Torah and the learning of Torah. They have this desire. They are very studious. They're extremely studious. The God-given gift. It's enough for him. Asher believe close to the hidden love that everyone has. That they are called. They are called the lover of his name. Those that are called the lover of his name. So it's sufficient for him to motivate to fulfill his commandments since he's naturally so inclined. So for a Jew, he must engage in battle his inclination. The problem is he's not fighting his Yetzer Hara. That he has a natural inclination for good doesn't mean that he doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. He has to push it, thank God. Some people don't have addictive. They don't have an addictive bone in the body. They don't have the concept of addiction. It's a gift. Some people have addictive. Some people are not depressed. They should be happy. They don't have that disposition of depression. It's a gift. It's a gift. People are given certain gifts in life. Some people don't have anger in their existence. They don't understand why other people have anger. It's a gift. And they should realize that. That's why you shouldn't judge anybody else. So but that's not a battle. The Eibishter wanted the battle. God wanted the struggle. And if I have a nefesh habahamis, so even though I have a natural disposition to good, then I need to awaken up this battle. I need to figure out a way to aggravate my nefesh habahamis. I have to find out a way to challenge my animal soul, because I have an animal soul, less of a tzaddik. And therefore, for the person who's free of conflict with evil, however, this hidden love together with his natural favorable character traits is sufficient. So he doesn't have to go. So that's why this guy, this Beinoni, that's not in war, basically decided, you know what? The best thing is I'll separate myself from the world. I'm not interested in the world to begin with. So I'll become an introvert. They were called in the Gemara's time, they were called the Prushim. They were Jews that separated themselves from the world, like the Lahavdil of those, the monks. You want to separate yourself from the world and become holy because you're not interested in the world to begin with, and you have this natural within you to separate. Okay, That's what you want to do. So the Alter Rebbe says that's not called the service of God. This Jew is not called one who serves God because he has his nefesh habahamis. He has his animal soul. This hidden love that every Jew has is not his work. It's not his achievement. That's God's achievement. God gave each one of us this ava misteres, his hidden love. So it's not my service, it's God's doing. As Alter Rebbe says, that every person has avas Hashem and misteres, which is hidden in every person, that was given to him as an inheritance. But she's by Lakam, and as I'll explain later. So with this, the Alter Rebbe concludes the thought. Well, within the level of a Bein, there are two subcategories. He who serves God and he who does not serve him. He now goes on to say that even one who's not naturally endowed with the traits of favorable to God's service may yet not come under the category of one who serves him not. May yet come under the category of one who serves him not. He who is not inherently studious, but has accustomed himself, you have two kinds of people. You have somebody who, as we said before, we Alter Rebbe mentions the concept of hergel. Hergel nasa teva. You get used to a certain thing. So you can train yourself to get used to something. And it becomes a habit. Now it becomes a natural habit. Something that I was not used to doing. So the Bainly is, that means a person can have the service of God. He can have a struggle, overcome the struggle, and then what he continues to do becomes a habit. Actually, he'll get a little bit of a. So you have a person that's not studious, let's say, and then he works on himself. And he does the service of God. He goes and he overcomes it. And now he does it naturally. He does it naturally. Like I say, many of us put on tefillin every day like we put our pants on. It's no difference. It became a habit. And it became like a second nature. Thus, diligence is now natural to him. So again, that person, it's for him too, the hidden love of God is now sufficient. Unless he wants to go above the natural. And that's what the Beinoni needs to do. The Beinoni always needs to be above the natural, above the normal. He has to go out of his tendencies. He has to go out of his nature, of his habits. And that's what the Beinoni needs to. He needs to go into struggle. He needs to go into the struggle. To do so, one must arouse a conscious love of God in his heart. Only such a love can supply the strength necessary to free himself from the restraints of his acquired nature. You gotta go deeper. You gotta go deeper than one's nature. We need to overcome our tendencies. If we fall into the trap, like those who do tshuva, and then they just fall into the habits of what they do. You're always about tshuva. Person should be always about tshuva. Once you're about tshuva, you're always about tshuva. Person that does tshuva. That's why David HaMelech says, my sin is always in front of me. Why? It reminds me, even though I've overcome it, it reminds me that I still have the capacity, and therefore I need to go better. I need to go above my instinct. I need to go above my nature. And that's the one who serves God. So in the Beinoni, we can fall into the one who doesn't serve God. So even a Jew that is doing everything right is not serving God. He's basically doing God's service, but he's not serving God. He's doing God's service. Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter brought him up in a certain kind of situation, gave him certain talents, gave him certain capabilities. It's all God's service. It's not my service. So we can have two aspects in a middle person. A person that does God's service. Thank God he knows what to do. Thank God God gave him a love of God. Thank God God gave him fear of God. Thank God God gave him Torah. So everything that he does, God gave him. And then, what about me? What about my service? That means something that I went higher, something that I went better, something that I went out of my nature. And that's when I do the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when I go above my even spiritual nature, which is good. This is an amazing teaching of the Alter Rebbe, that a person ultimately needs to go above even a spiritual nature. Not that he has to go above a sin. No, a person can be doing everything right, and it can be like he doesn't stop saying the words of Torah. He's still not in the service of God. That he doesn't stop saying the words of Torah could be because it became a nature to him to say the words of Torah. Now you understand why Rabbah could have made a mistake and said, I am a Beinoni. Because even though Rabbah never stopped saying words of Torah, he thought maybe that became his nature. So what's the difference to him that he says he doesn't stop saying words of Torah? That became a natural thing to him. Nothing that he had to go and fight about it. He didn't feel that there was a great accomplishment, that he deserves an honor or a plaque, that he's a person that doesn't stop. Like another person talks other things. He spoke words of Torah. It became a second nature. That's why a Beinoni is one who needs to constantly have a battle with himself. He needs to go above his nature. He needs to say, wait a second, maybe I'm doing this because it's my natural disposition. Maybe I'm doing this because this is what I got used to. Maybe I'm doing this not because I thought about it, not because I had a thought of God. I had a contemplation. I'm doing it because right now I love God. I had this question, maybe to do it or maybe not to do it. I do it because, as I said, put on tefillin because that's what I do. It's wonderful. But it's not in this that I'm serving the Eibush. I do it because that's my nature. And the truth is, we all fall into this. We all fall into this habit. And we turn Yiddishkeit not into a passionate, exciting, transforming concept. We turn it into a natural thing. Just like those who do natural things will both become those that do things out of nature. We turn Yiddishkeit, we turn the whole Judaism into a natural thing. This is what we do. No, this is what we do because we love God. We thought about it. And that's why the Chachamim put a bracha before every mitzvah that we do and everything that we do, we eat, is that we should think about it. Not just do it out of rote, because that's what you do. That's wonderful. But that's not the one who serves God. The one who serves God he thought about it. There's a reason why he does it. There's a thought behind it. There's a purpose in what I'm doing right now. I could have been doing something else, and I decided I want to do this right now because I want to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because right now, I want to have a relationship and I have a love of God. That completes the Tanya of the day. Truth is, this is one of the most important teachings of the Alter Rebbe, and it's something that you should learn it again and again to comprehend this, to understand this, because it's a very delicate concept, this aspect. The difference between one who serves God and one who doesn't serve God is a very thin line in between. And we have to ultimately come to the conclusion that in everything what I do, am I doing it because it became something that I become natural to do? Am I doing it because my grandmother told me to do it, my mother told me to do it, my father told me to do it, or that's the way I think I have to do it? Am I doing it right this mitzvah? Or I'm not doing this sin because right now I want to create this relationship with God. Right now, I want to create an Avas Hashem. I don't want to go because it's rote, because this is what I do. this is what I want to do at this present time. I want to do this right now, not in 10 minutes, not before, not after. I want to do it right now, because right now I want to create this connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's where every moment and every situation I do becomes a real thing, becomes real to me. And that's why you need to use your seichel, everything that you do, every moment that you do. So when you want to even do something negative, think for a second. Do you want to do this thing right now? Do you want to do it right now? Is it important to you to do this right now? I know in general you have a desire to do. The question is right now. So if a lashon hara comes to me, I want to think about it. So I want to do it right now. Then the best thing to push it off. Say, okay, I'll do it later. Then when later comes, you say again, I'll do it later. Because the question is right now. Do I want to disconnect from the Eibishter right now? That's the question that a person has to ask himself at the present moment. And that's when it comes to Eved Hashem. It's not just he's in a mode of, what do they call it on a plane, autopilot. Every moment is a question by him. Every moment is a dilemma and a conclusion. What his conclusion is right now. That's why we do a lot of things, Torah mitzvahs, and we don't even remember that we did it. We don't even remember that we did it because we did it on autopilot. We didn't make a true conscious decision at this present moment. We're on autopilot, where it became a habit, and we do it. And that's why we make brachas also on autopilot. We make brachas also because that became a habit. We make brachas. Who doesn't make a bracha before he eats or before he does a mitzvah? He does do brachas. It became a natural thing to us, and that's how we daven, and we don't remember that we daven because it became a natural thing to us. The Rebbe would say, if you want to be able to create like by davening, by prayer, or by brachas, is you just put your finger on the page. It's the beauty of the Rebbe. If I bring for hours and hours without looking at anything, then when he came to the end of the Fabring, whatever, 3-4 hour Fabring, would open the siddur to say a bracha achrona, because he ate cake and he drank wine. So he had to make a bracha achrona. If you ever watched him make a bracha achrona, he would follow with his finger on the bracha achrona. He would speak hours upon hours without any papers, and he didn't know the bracha achrona by heart. He didn't know the blessing by heart. I'm sure that Rebbe knew the blessing by heart. Everybody knows his blessing by heart. Said it 100 times. So we know the bracha by, but he would say the bracha with his finger. And he would follow the bracha with his finger. Because it's an important thing, a bracha. And therefore, blessing that you make before or after something, follow it with your finger. Then you'll maybe think about the bracha you make. It will not be something that's rote to you, but you're following with your finger. So to davening, as much as possible, follow with your finger. Put your finger on the book and let the finger follow the words. So now you emphasize to yourself that no, it's not that I'm saying this because I know this prayer by heart. Some people can daven the whole davening by heart. They know it by heart. I'm praying for years. So who doesn't know it by heart? No, you need to daven now. Not important how fast you do it again. That's going to be because it ain't over safe how fast or how slow I do something. What's slow to me might not be slow to you. It might be fast to you. It might be. What do I know? What slow and fast is? It's very hard to evaluate.
What's important is kavana.
To contemplate.
Every person needs to daven. And with davening, the chazan doesn't daven for you. You daven for yourself. You don't have to keep up to the chazan. Said this many times. You don't need to keep up to the chazan. You need to daven. The chazan is only there to lead it, to keep it decorum. It's not there, you're davening. If the chazan need to go to every person's davening, we would be there 3 hours. And then nobody would enjoy the davening. The chazan is there to lead the davening. He's not there for your davening.
What was the purpose of putting the finger on every word? I don't understand how that helped.
Because then I concentrate on the word. The word is, I'm not reading it by heart. It's
So it was to slow down and concentrate on every word rather than just.
So slow down. You can slow down as slow as you want. Every person can daven in any speed they want to daven. The chazan should not hamper you from davening in your speed.
To use some
And
phrases.
that's what you do. So you need to put your finger on it. Yeah, to make it an action, because we want to make our davening not something of a rote. We want to make a davening that there was something that's happening right now. I'm davening to God right now. It's not something that a prayer that has been established, that has been written, and you are basically repeating something that has been written thousands of years ago. I'm davening right now to God. I personally, I'm davening, praying right now to the Eibishter. And therefore, it's important to me every word that I'm going to say. The chazan is important for something else. My davening is important for me. Every entity in the shul has its purpose. Chazan has its purpose, and my davening has its purpose to me. And that completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the first day of the month. It's a Chodesh, so it's the first day of the month. The Tillim of the day is chapter 1 to chapter 9. I invite everybody at 10 a.m. We're going to learn a Sikh of the Rebbe at 10 a.m., either at Chabad or on Zoom or direct, and you're welcome to come. In Mir Hashem, we'll see each other at tomorrow at 8 a.m. We'll continue to learn the Chitas of the day.